Page 71, when time stops. We're going to use this improvising idea we just covered in the previous video there on page 70. I want to point out a few things because there's some tricky things about this piece. At the beginning, in the right hand, they're showing you 2, 3, 5. The idea is, second measure you have this chord. And so we want to be in a position to play that chord. Normally in the first measure you play that 1, 2, 4 or something like that, but then you got to move for the second measure. You'd have to move all the way down here. It's not real convenient, so instead they're saying 2, 3, 5. I'm suggesting a different one. I'm suggesting 3, 4, 5. The half note, 2, 4, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 4. To me, that's easier than their fingering, but you can experiment, whatever. Same thing with the next two measures. So now we have an F natural. Then the quarter note, I recommend 3, and then going on to the first ending. Here, now, you have a choice. In the first measure of the second line, you can go the 1, 2 on the half note's fine. Then you can stay where you're at and do the 2, 4 or 2, 3 on the quarter note and then move. Or you can move immediately and take in those 2 quarter notes with 1, 2 and here. That's an extended position, so you're not moving there. So where do you want to move the hand? Do you want to move it immediately? Or do you want to move it later? Your choice. Third measure of the second line. See, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's tied. 4 and then here. Now, when you repeat this, and you play that first line again, and you get to the end of the line, you're here. That quarter note, the last note in the first line, on the second time around, I suggest you put your thumb on that. Because if you look at the first note in the second ending, that's the third line down, you have here. They're saying 1 and 3, I disagree. You can if you want to, but it's unnecessary. So if you put your thumb on the last note of the first line, then you can do the half note in the second ending, the first note, with 2, 4, and then 2, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2. Experiment and see what you think. You take a pencil and write in the numbers if you need to. Third measure of the third line is here. They're saying for the 8th note, 5th finger. I disagree. I would say for the first 8th note, use 3rd finger. It's there, use it. And then 5th finger. So that measure is. And then the next one is 1, 2, 4. And then 1, 2, 5. For the last measure of the third line. Now for this improv section at the bottom, this last line, we're going to play this line 3 times. Each time we're going to play the first 2 measures just like the written. We're not changing anything. Then the next 2 measures we're going to change stuff. So the first time through, it's the first 2 measures is here. But then on the next 2 measures, what we're going to do is we're going to play those chords, but we're going to improvise them by splitting up the notes like we did on page 70. So instead of a half note, we're going to do 2 quarter notes, and instead of the 2 quarter notes written, we're going to do 4 1/8 notes. So it's like this. And then for the half note, 2 quarter notes. That's the first first time through. The second time through, we're going to play that again, except this time when we improvise, instead of playing it here, we're going to go up here an octave. You have a half rest to get up there and down and so forth, so you got time. So the second time through the last line, it's here. Go up an octave. Then the third time through, again, the first two measures are normal. This time we're going to do the 8VA basso. We're going to do it in the right hand, and we're going to leave the left hand alone. And what we're going to do is simply go down an octave. 8VA basso means go down an octave. So instead of here, we're going to come down here. And we're going to split up the rhythm like we did before. So the third time through, it's this way. Then go down an octave. And then for the third time through, then you play the third ending, and that's here. And go ahead and play it down here. That chord in the third ending, yeah, down here. Then we're going to repeat. We're not going to repeat. We're going to go do the DC. We're going to do the beginning. I'm getting confused. Don't confuse me. So now we go back up to the top of the piece. And then we're going to play the first line and then stop down and do the third ending there on the third line and then stop it. Then there's a note on the third line in between the stabs that the last time you play it, after you've done the DC, and they want you to repeat the last two measures. They want you to play those two measures 3 times. Each time you get softer. You're kind of fading away and slower. So you're kind of dying away too. So the effect would be for those 2 measures, the first time through is here. Then you repeat it a little softer. Slow down. And again, softer and slower. Doing that. Let's try this out very slowly and see what happens. It's kind of hard to check notes whenever the chord's like this, because that sounds like a wrong note, but do the best you can. I'll give us 4 counts since it's in 4/4 time, so go ahead and put your hands where they go. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready and go, and 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, rest. Repeat. 2, 3, 4. Repeat. Go down an octave. Two, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3 to the top. 4 again.